I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today
channel.
we're watching Mushoku Tensei. We waited so long. Not really. We finished like last month. Season 2, episode 1, right? That's what we're at. Last thing we watched was an OVA of
so.
Eris.
Possibly.
That was great. It was amazing. Best OVA I've ever seen.
Goblin
but before
Slayer.
then, we ended off with Eris departing from Rudy with Ghislaine. And
with a new haircut. Fresh haircut.
We were also given two things. One, the craziest nonsensical information of Sylphie's where she's at now that I've ever seen. How the fuck did you get there? Tell me,
we had
please.
Haircuts. Now we're having hair dye.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
What was your come up? How did it happen? I need the
Where'd you
details.
get the sunglasses?
Exactly. Was that your first iteration of sunglasses? Is there a reason for the sunglasses? I don't know. Cool? I'm not sure. We also were given the information that my favorite character in the show is somewhere in the Bigarite continent in the labyrinth city of Rapan.
Yes.
That's interesting. We also know that Roxy has a dream of something occurring in a labyrinth. Mm-hmm. That might happen. What do you think?
Maybe.
Any expectations going into this season? I have none, other than just good animation and good world building.
I don't know what they're gonna do to me. I don't know what they're gonna do to me. I guess I'm just ready to see what's in store.
Yeah, me too. Hoping for Turning Point 3, Episode 1. Fingers crossed. Ready? Mm-hmm. Sweet. Oh, by the way, if you're new here, first episode of every season of a new show, we offer full length for free on our Patreon. Go check it out. Thanks, Blind Wave. But without further ado, ready?
Yes.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
From the meeting room, right?
And from Soros's death.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me of the window from the outro in season 1.
What is it? Eyes are the window to the soul?
I thought you were talking about the constellation. I was like, I don't know, man. Is this how Sylphie got there? Luke. I like Luke. Is this where she teleported to? Just the sky.
And then she was awake during the fall.
Derek. Second princess. I hope the water, helped the fall. Oh!
Sylphie's gonna end up saving her. He's like ready to die here.
What a shot!
I have a lot of questions.
Jesus!
How'd it get in there? Seemed like a nice garden.
That explains, like, her living there, right?
Yeah,
they're in debt to her.
The hair change, I'm confused about.
Maybe if you fall from the sky fast enough, your hair changes color. Scared into gray hair? I don't know. What name? Fitz.
I like it.
I knew a Fitz once. Rest in peace, Derek. Ah. So cool. This is where
Is this the execution?
Soros was executed.
Is this the execution right now?
Ariel. Gravel. So many names.
Older brother?
Everybody else's attention. Holy shit, this is so tense.
I don't like him. Talking about berries? That's not what it really means.
Yeah. Ah.
The little ear twitch.
Yeah, I loved it.
Ooh. So you're gonna bump into someone! Oh no.
Act like it was somebody else.
Give her the crown now.
Smooth. Those are the worst dreams.
Don't give them any openings. I'm learning what a risk Fitz, Sylphie even is to the princess right now, you know?
シンとアリエル様の護衛頑張るよって夢の中でもお願いしますそれでは寝ましょうかはいアリエル
Assassin! Assassin! Oh!
It was the girl who was with Darius, right? Jesus.
Hiding. Shit. Oh,
Holy shit, what a shot.
Oh!
Nice!
Oh! Yes!
フィッツしっかりしてフィッツ襲撃がありました至急医者は
The Night-Eyed Hawk.
Claimed the lives of many nobles.
フィッツもうだ
のことではっきりしたのは敵は宮殿にいつ襲撃があるかいう形で国をチャンスは巡ってきます。
他国で要人とつながりを持ち
お供します。アリエル様。
ありがとうルークフィッツ死の任から解きますなんで上の不法侵入という罪につけ込み返させてきましたあなたの意志を無駄の望みである家族や友人を探し出す私に力がないばかりにあなたに迷惑をかけるわけにはいきません今日限りであなたを嫌だ僕を友達だと言ってくれたアリエル様も友達が困っていれば力になりたい目に合えば助ける迷惑なわけないよドは自分の意志で僕はアリエル様と一緒に行きたいありがとうフィッツ友達を守るためにこの道を選んだ
I love that you can see through the glasses now.
あの日からずっと悪夢は見て
Oh.
Her nightmares ceased.
Okay, that was Mushoku Tensei episode 0? It might have been like a prologue, maybe.
Unless Rudy isn't our main character anymore.
No, but I wonder if it was a prologue or if you'd consider this episode 1 of season 2, but regardless, what a establishing episode for the rest of the season.
I am in love with this princess character that has been like added in. Obviously she was like teased to us a little bit at the very end of season 1 or very end of what we had last received, I think, like, you know, episode 23.
Yeah.
And I am just really, really into the fact that Sylphie is like coming into her own here and that she's more of a character, more of a presence in this story than just the childhood girl from back home.
So what I'm really happy about is that you had one of 3 ways to go about things in terms of Sylphie's new position in the story. 1, you don't explain any of it about like how she got where she was. That's unrealistic and stupid. They weren't going to go with that. 2, once Rudy and Sylphie interact for the first time, then we are shown flashbacks or, for lack of a better term, the prologue of what Sylphie's interactions with them were and how she came to be through her conversations with Rudy. Or 3, give her her own separate prologue. In a story like Mushoku Tensei, this is by far the best option in my opinion.
It definitely fits. I mean, especially with the idea and reason that we get Eris leaving Rudy at the end of season 1 for wanting to come into her own as an individual and then meet up again in the future, be maybe on the same page or deserving of standing beside each other in terms of like strength and maturity and growth. And it really does feel like this whole show is kind of like a coming of age story for these characters that we met as children.
Well, this show is very, very good at world building, and they're very good at making me interested in every culture within this Earth-like place, right? Whether it's like the man gods or the dragon gods or like just random people that we find or stumble across. Hell, we had Cliff from the OVA that I had never met before, and I was like sold. So the idea of there being a very tense interpolitical conflict going on between two siblings that has very little, if not anything, to do with the story that we've known for the first season feels very real and something that I would assume would be taking place in this world that I would never have the privilege of seeing.
It is props to the world building. It's like the mangaka, the author, the whoever created this story and the steps in this journey decided that this world was actually going to feel like a world, and that every culture, every place, every continent was going to have their own people, their own architecture, even just as to put it simply as an example, and that they were going to have their own plights and their own disagreements or issues, and then in turn they also have their own ruling structures, and within those ruling structures, there's obviously, when you like zoom in a little bit, going to be, if they're real people that you're putting in here, or
if they're behaving like
real people, then there's most definitely going to be internal struggles within the family, political agendas, and it makes so much sense. And every single time we get to another continent or to another kingdom and we get an actual look at people, behaving like they're actual characters that have actual desires and opinions and a place in this world.
Yeah.
And it's almost like reminding you, like, Rudy is this character that was just plopped into this world that already existed, whose fate probably was already in motion. All of these characters probably had a fate that could have been seen, by a god.
Yeah.
And he was dropped into this world when really, if he hadn't been, maybe we could have zoomed in on a different person living their life in this world.
Yeah.
And how they would have been affected by a disaster.
Yeah. I find it really interesting that, like, throughout this episode, it answered a few of my own questions that I was posing. Sure, something as simple as, like, why white hair? It's because falling fast. But two, like, where we left off in episode 23, at the after credit scene, right? I was wondering, like, okay, where in terms, like, chronologically are we going to end up placing that? It seemed much more of when we saw it as the after credit, that Sylphie held much more sway and presence in the room that they were in currently, as well as some sense of like authority over everybody else in the room in terms of like protecting somebody. And that all fits together now after learning about Ariel and what Sylphie has done to prove herself in terms of like security, right? For Ariel. She's able, so like out of everybody in the castle, even what's his name? Luke. Yeah, I love Luke. He looks so cool.
He does look cool.
Even in like going up against Luke and stuff, Sylphie has now saved directly the princess, once by kind of coincidence, accidents, once very real, twice. So who else would she trust more, And it fits perfectly into whatever circumstance that Luke and Fitz were in that after credit scene, where they felt like they needed to find somebody to help them and give them power. It makes sense that Sylphie's there now. Like after seeing the trust that she was given for a reason throughout this prologue.
And why they would listen to her opinion on who could be trusted. We now know why Ariel would be looking for strong individuals. I mean, obviously, I don't think her older brother would stop at anything or be against even the dirtiest of
Do you think
tricks.
He knows that
this was that this assassin was gonna show up?
Yeah.
He basically told someone to do something about it. You
Yeah.
know? He gave the authority to this man to take care of it. To do something. I don't care what you do.
We will not nip the buds, but reap the one who sows them.
And isn't she currently sowing buds.
Very well. See to it, Darius. It doesn't feel as like directly malicious and immediate as Darius is actually making it be, right?
Well, I mean, it could be that you're reading this Prince character's nonchalance about it as maybe they don't understand the gravity of what Darius might do with this.
Yeah.
But to me, it just seems like he's like, I don't effing care what it is. Just do
I agree
something.
to a certain extent because it's definitely like, okay, it's plain as day to him, right? Grable, he obviously is one who loves his language very early on in the episode, and I loved his use of it because it was this like,
Are you
like
always gonna
this
let someone
backhanded
steal?
fucking
Yeah.
like I don't know. I love
Very.
that. I love that character in a story because they're always really interesting to see what they what their intentions truly are. But when talking to Darius, and Darius is basically like, all right, well, we're not going to get rid of the people who are fans of Ariel. We're just going to fucking get rid of Ariel, right? And he's like, all right, very well, see to it then. I agree that like he of course knew what was coming, but the idea that it was that night by the person on Darius's arm that like Darius is like ready to like pounce at that shit,
like,
and that's so interesting.
It's because he's a person that's a fan of using language very meaningfully and purposefully.
Yeah.
That obviously in his status as the prince, he can now feign innocence to this because he never explicitly said in words, kill Ariel.
And it was by somebody who's killed nobles prior, so it wouldn't have been out of pocket.
It was by an assassin that, and who was to blame at the end of the day? Truly, actually, the assassin is the one that is titled as the blame for this incident and for all those other nobles' deaths. But
rather
obviously,
the person filling your pockets.
Ariel knowing, the ways of this world, they know that someone who filled the assassin's pockets.
Yeah.
Exactly. They know that someone paid this bounty hunter assassin to do their dirty work for them, to keep their hands clean, but also to keep that separation, that if you ever did accuse someone of sending an assassin after you, well, that is a grave offense to their name and their status politically.
So she's the second princess. Grable, do I have it right that his mother was just some woman?
Concubine.
Right, yeah. All right.
And that she is the actual queen's daughter.
Yeah. I wonder how in this world they handle there being a queen leader in like instead of a man, just like regardless of the order of birth, because that's what they're going off of, right? Whoever was born first or next in line.
It seems like it was whoever was born first.
Yeah.
If Ariel even has a chance of like taking the throne and us talking about it in such a real way as
seems like
a
a real
possible
possibility.
future, then I guess in Asura, it's Asura,
Yeah.
the kingdom, then that wouldn't be unheard of or crazy for a queen to be the ruler, the primary ruler.
So I had a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. One of them being I really like the detail of Sylphie like swaying, and then Luke being like, all right, I know your feet are probably tired, dude, just like fake it.
I like Luke.
Yeah, I like Luke a lot.
I really love that there's actually this really sweet support and care that's was already surrounding the princess. I think I almost would expect that Sylphie would be the princess's first chance at actually getting to be herself around someone, that, she could let her hair down with this person, or this person actually cared about the real her and wasn't just wearing the stuffy suit because
then that person got fucking killed. Rip Derek Bozo.
But we're lucky, and she's lucky, that she already is surrounded by people that actually care about her specifically and want her to be the ruler because they believe that she'd be a righteous one and a good one. And I do like that Sylphie is filling a spot of friend and supporter, but isn't the one that's like has the primary pressure on them to fill that role.
Do you think that there's any relation to Zenith or that whole family?
I think I mean, they are similar with the blonde hair and blue eyes. It could be that the queen originally had come from Milith.
Yeah.
Milith continent?
We thought that they seemed related, right?
Milis continent.
Milis,
I was thinking like Milith,
Mililis,
and I think that's Genshin Impact. I don't know why my head went there.
Okay, so one of the last things I want to talk about is what does Rudy do here, right? So if for whatever reason Sylphie is wanting to get Rudy's help with something or protection or whatever it be, what is Rudy's reaction to that? Because on one hand, he wants to protect Sylphie. On another hand, Sylphie's like gone through her own shit and is her own person with her own desires. And on another hand, Rudy wants to protect Sylphie.
Mm-hmm.
What's like, is Rudy just going to be like, all right, I'll do whatever you're doing, or I'll, just to help you out? Or is Rudy going to be like, okay, can you offer me a resource in exchange? Maybe try to help me find my mom? Or like what do you think is the next course of action for Rudy here and how he would interact with the Sylphie that is now a Fitz?
I think I from that can latch onto the idea of mutually beneficial for the nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
What they slept together because it was mutually beneficial to have someone by your side. They both were experiencing nightmares or were scared to sleep. And I think that if we think about who Rudy is now and maybe even who Sylphie is now, they would want to help their friend 100%. But Rudy also knows he could probably look, oh, well, Sylphie is in an environment. I know where she is now. She is safe. She has such a powerful ally at her side.
Yeah.
And my mother is still missing, and she needs rescuing. So I do think that because Rudy's name came up as we should get this person on our side in order for Ariel to end up being the sovereign, I think that doing something mutually beneficial. I do wonder where Ariel and Luke and Sylphie are when we get them talking about Rudy.
At the end of episode 23.
They're in a room and I'm like, are they back home? They went on a trip to study abroad because she was able to do that, but they are definitely not home.
So
they're probably in another
my mind,
continent, kingdom.
We saw them traveling in the snow in the winter. I think that comes before the after credit of 23. Before we get the after credit of 23, we get Rudy in a similar journey at the end of this prologue. I imagine they're going to go towards the same type of place, and where they are in the end of episode 23 is where they ended up after, like where they went abroad. That's what I'm thinking.
So I do think that this might be our current cast of characters that are going to help Rudy, which the princess is a question mark because she doesn't actually fight. So her helpfulness would probably just be in her prestige and her position. She could be helpful. But truly, it seems like what's going to be created and that the theme, there's always like themes that are planted that end up being overarching. The theme of this episode and then going into the next is probably going to be like mutually beneficial friendships where you help me, I help you, I care for you, you care for me situation.
How much of Ariel's like disposition after the first like 4 minutes and like intent to claim the crown and where her mind's at do you think is derived from what Derek said to her like before he died?
I think that
please claim the crown.
It might have planted it in there and then it might have been solidified once it was realized who Sylphie was and the fact that Ariel didn't have any actual position to be helping the people in this world that had been transplanted to random areas because of the Mana disaster.
Yeah.
And knowing that she has this close personal friend now that she's creating this relationship with that has a family out there and Ariel can't use her position yet to help that person.
Yeah.
And help all those other people. I think that might actually be more of a driving force for Ariel than anything else. And that's why when Sylphie at the end there is like, from my own free will, I will be standing by your side. I will be supporting you. I think that declaration that she then utters out of her mouth of that she is going to become the queen, it's really from Sylphie.
Yeah.
Sylphie's inspiration.
All right. One more thing, just want to say I appreciated the animation this episode and we got the little fight
Sylphie
The assassin
and the
Sylphie.
assassin. We had some really good like knife choreography, and I love one of my favorite things about the show is the animation, because when they choose to do anything that involves a fight, their precision and ability to convey speed in fighting hits different than any other anime I've seen. And I
loved the moment where you are like worried and scared and that secondary blade is gonna come down and you barely even have a chance to notice it, but it's like enough of a pause to notice that Sylphie's hand is basically on the assassin's like stomach.
And took the brunt of the hit from the blade and then exchanged it with the push of the hand. It's awesome. It gives you the feeling that even if it meant Sylphie's life, she was willing to lay that down.
It was like this
for
moment
Ariel.
of pause and then rush, and it's
awesome.
so great.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.